All right, hey fellow Earthwakers, welcome to this training on how to do the Awaken Life breakthrough process. I'm going to break it down into 9 steps. This is an advanced training. I'm not just going to go kind of like, this isn't just the alphabet. We're going deep, but I'm going to break it down as for you, and then we'll have like more. Maybe we'll have some PDFs below or something as well, and then we can have more training coming forward. But I just want to take you through it to the depths of it, how deep we can take it, and so you'll have like at least like all the seeds planted, and then we'll do whatever we need to do to water those seeds. But I just want to congratulate you for being here. Thank you so much for really caring about the world enough to like really want to do this, because what we're doing is we're taking people's fears, their limiting beliefs, their stories, and we're going into those stories and we're turning the light on. So we're showing them where the light switch is, because they've got the light switch the whole time. It's because they've been programmed from the outside in to what the world is, what it looks like. So you're helping them take their power back by realizing that all of your power comes from your meaning that you assign to the moments, because we're masters of meaning. So every moment is meaningless inherently, but we attach the meaning to it. And whatever meaning that we attach, that is the reality that we create. So if we say, if your dog dies, and then this is really bad, my dog died. You made the meaning that it was a bad thing that your dog died. And all of a sudden you're in hell because it's so painful. It sucks. But you created that reality with your perception. So that's what you're going to help people do, is they're still trapped inside of the past because they just can't let go of the story that they're told themselves, and that's resisting. They're suffering because pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. So they're resisting, and that resistance is what's making them suffer. So you want to liberate them. So thanks for being a powerful lighthouse in this world, for wanting to do this kind of work. So if you guys are ready, you're going to want to take notes. You can pause this video. You can do whatever you need to. But I'm going to go through a 9-step process. I've got it written down here, so I'll make sure I don't leave anything behind. So how you're going to start, step 1 is you're going to identify the limiting belief, because again, it's the perception. So your thoughts lead to your emotions, which lead to your actions, which lead to your results. Someone has a result in their life that they don't like. The result's not the problem. The result is the fruit. The thought is the seed. So you're going to need to change the seed. And all that thought is a judgment that this was bad. So how we identify the limiting belief is we can actually work our way backwards. Now, anywhere in the path, you can look at a result, say, hey, so what's a result that you're dealing with? It's like, maybe it's coming up a lot, like what's come up recently that you don't like in your life. So you can look at the result and see something that they don't like in their life. Sometimes you'll catch it right there, and then you work your way backwards, or you catch it with the emotion. Like, what's something that triggers you? Like did somebody say something to you and it just really hurt you, really upset you? Because what you're looking for is that emotional trigger. Because as you work your way backwards from the result, it's the emotional trigger. That emotion is energy in motion. So that emotion is what's creating their reality. It's manifesting it. So that's really the starting point of manifestation, is the emotion. Because the thought is just inside their head, but the emotion, it like goes from their head into their body. So you can identify that starting place of this manifestation of hell that they've stepped into. So the emotion. So what something triggered you. So anytime anybody ever gets triggered, it's always a story. It's always an illusion. It's always a lie. Like, it's not natural to be triggered. It's not natural to be upset. It's not that's an artificial creation. It's something that we've taken on. It's because our parents taught us, hey, our parents were pissed off all the time, so we just think it's natural to be pissed off. But sometimes we do the wrong thing so long that the right thing feels wrong. We've made a home in hell, and we feel like strangers in heaven. So this is what brings you back, is first realizing, oh, it's actually not natural to feel something other than peace, love, and joy. Actually, it's an artificial creation. I'm in some sort of illusion. So let's get us back to the truth that sets you free. Let's get us back home. So find the emotion, whatever the trigger is. So either find the result, something that's like happening that they don't like. But even when you find the result, you come to the emotion. Well, how does it make you feel about yourself? And you always turn it back on them. So whatever the problem was, whether it's somebody said this about me. Okay, cool. Well, how did that make you feel about yourself? And what you're looking for is the limiting belief, which is, and so you can actually have them close their eyes and just say, all right, I'll ask you to close your eyes and just take a deep breath in, let it all go, ground and ask, you know, what is the number one limiting belief about myself that comes up? And so somebody called, somebody, my girlfriend left me. Okay, cool. How did that make you feel about yourself? What's the limiting belief? Well, I felt rejected and like, I'm not enough. Okay, cool. So there's your limiting belief. I'm not enough. So when you have that belief, you create an entire world off of that belief, because an event happens, but there's a story that you layered on top of the event. The event didn't have a meaning on its own. You put the meaning on it. And if the meaning was, I walked up to my dad, my dad's like working, and like when you're a little kid and you're like, Dad, hey. And he's like, well, hold on. I'm busy. Oh, well, I'm not enough. You get shut down. My dad doesn't love me. And you just create this story, and all of a sudden live inside that reality where I'm not enough for love. And then you go perpetuate it. You keep finding events that match that story. You're searching for events that you can like, oh, cool. Look, my story's true. So we're getting rid of the story. So you'll invite them, say, okay, what's your number one limiting belief? Okay, I'm not enough. And that's the deepest one usually on most everyone, is like, that's the core of all of it. But they'll be like, I'm stupid, or I'm too fat, or whatever the things would be pops up. So once you find it, then you say, you invite them to come back. Okay, cool. We've got the belief. Now, step 2 is to ask them if they're done with it, if they're ready to let it go. Like, so are you liking the results that this seed, or the fruit that this seed is producing? Do you like that, or you don't like that fruit? Do you like the taste of that fruit? No? Okay, cool. So are you done with it? Would you like to let it go and, plant a new seed, produce some new fruit? Yes. Okay, cool. So now you've got their permission. Now they're enrolled. Now they're like, yes, so let's do this thing. I'm done with this. It sucks. I'm ready to not be in hell anymore. I want to be in heaven now. Okay, cool. So then you invite them, step 3, invite them to close their eyes again, and ground. Say, okay, ground. And then you just ask them to just bring up, so what is the first moment that comes up for you when you remember thinking, I'm not enough? And then you wait. And you can watch them. You'll see when it hits. Like when you're watching them, you see them close their eyes, like they'll take a different breath, or you'll see them like smile or frown or cry or flinch. Something will happen. You'll see the emotion gets triggered in their body when they hit the moment. Sometimes the moment pops up, the memory pops up, and it doesn't trigger the emotion yet. Because sometimes it really is their subconscious brought them this memory. I mean, I've done this breakthrough with myself many times. And then the memory that comes up, I'm like, well, this can't be it, because this has nothing to do with I'm not enough or whatever. Like the memory pops up, and I'm like, well, here. So you invite them, whatever pops up, to bring that thing forth, because it's usually the very first. I mean, always the very first thing that pops up is the one. When they close their eyes, they ground, and they ask, when's the very first moment I remember feeling like I'm not enough? The first thing that pops up, that's the thing. And it might look weird. It might, like sometimes they're like, this isn't it. But, I was like a little kid. I was like on the playground, and then, as they start talking it through, all of a sudden you'll see them like, oh, well, wait a minute. Yeah. Oh, okay. I guess that is it. And sometimes it might take a moment, but that's irrelevant. Just to find the moment, the first memory that comes up. And once you're there, you're just going to invite them to share that story. They're in the moment and they just share the story, and you're just going to be present. You're just going to listen. You don't react to anything that they say. You don't stop the story. Like if they start like, and then my dad hit me, you don't like, whoa, oh gosh, you don't stop them in the middle of the story. You don't like try to move them out. You let them experience the entire thing, and you're experiencing it with them. You're in there with them in the story. Because remember, it's just a story. I mean, the event really did happen. Yes, that's true. But the emotion behind it and the limiting belief is a story that they've layered on top. They've made a meaning to the moment that the meaning wasn't already there. So what happened, maybe if dad hit him, well, then the thing is, dad was thinking, I'm not enough. And dad has this belief, I'm not enough. And he sold that belief to the child in that moment. So the little child's there, like in their memory, like, dad hit me. Well, what is actually happening is that was the transferring of I'm not enough from one person to the another. So now the little child, if the little child buys that lie, I'm not enough, then boom, now that's their reality. And it was just passed on. It was an artificial creation. The truth was the dad was was never not enough. But when the dad believed it, the dad created a reality, and then the child lives inside of the dad's reality until the child decides to create their own. And the only way they can do that is by calling bullshit on the story. That's the only way to get out of it. So because they're manifesting reality with the thoughts. Manifest doesn't mean create. It means make obvious what is already there. What's wrong is always available. So is what's right. You choose what to focus on. What you focus on expands. That's how you create your experience of your reality. So there they are. And they're like, they're telling you the story. Yeah. And then I said something, and then dad slapped me. And so they're in that moment. And then once they're in their moment, then you're going to ask them you ask them who's a person that you really, really trust that would tell you the truth no matter what. And sometimes like they might not have a person you can even say like it could be, this happened the other day. This is the first time I've seen this happen, but it was actually very powerful, where somebody said, it could have been do you have a dog, like a pet that you love, that if the pet had a voice and they said something, that it would be the truth. So just find somebody that they can trust. And you can say it could be a fictional character. It could be, it could be God in whatever form. And because if you want to influence someone, you have to know what already influences them. You don't try to impose your beliefs. If you think, Buddha is the greatest ever, then you don't say, okay, what would Buddha tell you? Like, that's irrelevant. If they don't care what Buddha says, if you believe in Jesus, you don't say, what would Jesus tell you? Like, they don't care about that. That doesn't influence them. You've got to go into their world. People don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. They don't know how much you care until you step into their world and you understand them. That's how they know that you care, is if you really want to understand them, not try to get them to understand you. So go into their world and say, who is someone that would tell you the truth no matter what, whether it's a real person, whether it's a fictional character, whether it's a god or a pet. And then they'll just, whenever they come up with the person, okay, cool. So this person would tell you the truth no matter what, right? So whatever they say, you're going to believe it, right? It's because this is true. Yes, this person would always tell me the truth. This person told me something, I would believe it. Okay, cool. So then you're going to have them ask that person. They're going to invite the person into that moment. So there's a little child. So let's say the child was there, just said something, and the dad got mad and slapped him. So they're in that moment. They're about to form the beliefs that I'm not enough. And so you walk them through that. Say, okay, there's like, let's say it's like Amy. So there's little Amy. So that's who you're doing the breakthrough on, Amy. And you're looking at, so there's little Amy. She's just got slapped by her father. And in that moment, but you walk them back through it too. Sorry. Yeah. So you're going to walk them back through the moment. So they're really feeling it, so there you were, you said something, and then suddenly your dad slaps you. And then in that moment, little Amy, she feels all this pain well up inside of her, and all this pain is welling up because she's forming this belief. And if she takes on this belief that I'm not enough, then the rest of her life, she's going to go perpetuating that belief. And you're starting to show what that decision, if she takes on this belief, so you're kind of walking them through the path. Where does that road lead? You're showing them, because you got that little child has a choice in that moment. And you're good because you're showing them the choice, because the child didn't know that she had a choice. Amy didn't know she had a choice when she was there. She only took on the belief that the person that she trusted and loved gave her. She just took it in. She didn't create her own. She didn't decide her own belief. So she didn't know she had a choice. So you're showing that there's two paths that she can take right there. She can either take on the lie, or she can tell herself the truth. But show her, if she takes on the lie, what's it going to look like? Where does that road go? That's just a thought that she's going to follow. If she follows it, what does it look like? Well, she's going to keep creating realities and where she's not enough. She's going to get a boyfriend, and the boyfriend's going to slap her. She's going to keep finding these events where she can prove her story to be true. I'm not enough. See, I told you, my boyfriend slapped me too. And then all this stuff happens, and all this stuff, because they don't realize that they're manifesting it, because she doesn't know that her choice is in her perspective and her master of meaning. So, because she's tuning herself to reality. So you go back there and you show her, this is what's going to happen. You show her where that road leads. this little girl. And you say, okay, so, and just before Amy takes on this belief that I'm not enough, and it takes her down this crazy road that could just go on for all of eternity, so let's say Amy said it was her sister, her older sister, maybe. My older sister, Samantha, would always tell me the truth no matter what. So Samantha comes in. You invite whoever the person is that they trust to come in and tell them the truth. So there's little Amy, and she invites Samantha to come in as she's hurting, not just physically, but emotionally, because she feels like she's not enough. And then older sister Samantha comes in and tells her the truth. And says, here's the truth. It's not that you're not enough. And then they're going to come up with the truth. But it's all happening inside of themselves. But it's like you've given them the opportunity to step outside, because you can't see the picture when you're inside of it. But we all have a higher perspective that we can all tap into. So it's in there already. The truth is already in there. You can't program the truth inside of somebody. It's already there. All it can do is be revealed. So you're inviting them to reveal the truth to themselves. So they have to get outside of their limited perspective, inside of their little, because Amy felt like a victim. So she has to get out of that so she can see from a higher perspective, because Samantha doesn't feel like a victim right now. She's in truth. She's in love. So she can come and tell, because the truth is we're all one. We're all connected. So she's inviting a higher perspective that's inside of Amy is inviting a higher perspective that's inside of her already to come and tell her the truth outside the picture. So Samantha says, the truth is you're incredible. You're this beautiful light in this world. Dad is trapped inside of darkness right now. He's in pain. He's like, but it has nothing to do with you. It's just that he never got to experience love. He doesn't even know what it is. He does it. So he's like, looks at you and he sees you as this beautiful light. And it's like, it's so bright that it scares him. He doesn't even know what to do. He doesn't think that he's worthy of you, something like that. So that's what Samantha would tell Amy. So you let Amy process this stuff and then you have Amy take on the affirmations. Whatever Samantha says, like if Samantha says, oh no, you're beautiful, you're incredible, you're light, then you have Amy as a little girl saying, but the adult saying it, but still in the perspective, like in their mind, they're the little girl. The adult, the person you're talking to is in the picture, like they're in the memory, and they're, pretending to be Amy, the little Amy, and going, I'm beautiful. I'm a light. I'm a lighthouse. I'm amazing. I'm a gift for this world. Because Samantha's telling her, she believes Samantha. So now Amy is telling herself the truth. So what's happening is in this darkest moment of Amy's life, she realizes that there's a light switch. And all she has to do is flip the light on, because she is the light in that darkness. And it all happens with her choice to be a creator rather than consumer. Rather than consuming what the world has told her, she creates a new reality in this world. Where there was darkness, she created light. And it was all by a choice of being a creator, not a consumer. And that's there's a little Bible verse that says, be not conformed to this world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So that is it, transforming by the renewing of your mind. You didn't come here for the world to change you. You came here to wake the world up. So you tell the truth to the world. That's all like built on these illusions and stories. So Amy does that in that moment. Now, that's really the whole process. But if you can see that if you see Amy still doesn't believe the truth, then we can go deeper with this. So there's a why in the road. You could end right here. And if it's done, if you can tell that it's done right there, you don't have to go any further. Cool. It's already done. And then there's the next steps, but I'm going to give you some more options before we go to those final steps. So the other options, you see that she's still in the resistance to it. She still doesn't believe that she's enough. She still doesn't believe that she's beautiful. Then what you can actually do is I call it role-playing Ho'oponopono. So Ho'oponopono is this phrase where you say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. It's just those four things. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And so what you can do in that moment is you can actually embody, so this is the more advanced stuff right here, but you can embody the person that they feel hurt them. Like, so Amy feels like it was her dad that hurt her, and her dad that made her feel like she's not enough. Now, the truth is her dad didn't make her feel like she's not enough, because only she can decide that she's not enough. Her dad can never decide that for her, so you're giving Amy her power back. She's not a victim. She's a creator. She's a powerful creator. She's not a victim of this world. She's a powerful creator of her reality. She just didn't know that yet. So you're giving her power back, and letting her know that she is the one creating her reality. But sometimes she's still so trapped inside of that story. That emotion was so much. It was so hard. It was so much to take that there was like, she just couldn't let it go. Like, so you can actually do like a surrogate father, or, whoever it was that hurt him, and then Ho'opono, and actually tell them like the truth, like actually apologize, because they might need that to get outside of it. It might just be too much. The prison might be the walls might be too thick for Amy to get out unless she hears the apology. Now in truth, she doesn't need that apology, but in her mind, she does. So give it to her. So what you'll do is like, okay, so then you can then be the dad. So you can just stay in the memory, stay in there. You're still in the moment. And then you say, okay, Amy, I just want to tell you that I'm sorry. So you're going to go through I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry for, sorry for slapping you. I got lost. I got out of control. And you'll just go into it. And you just move into this space where you just open up and just let that, you move into the higher perspective. You tap into the higher self. Just let the truth come through you. You're not going to be there when this is happening. You're just opening it up and you're letting truth flow through you of what that guy would say if he were telling himself the truth. If he knew the truth in that moment, what would he tell himself? What would he say to the little girl if he were to snap out of it and wake up like right then? Holy crap, what did I just do? Because it was like this, his story overtook him. He got lost. He fell asleep and his story overtook him. The illusion overtook him. All of a sudden he snaps out and wakes up. Oh my, I'm so sorry. And he tells the truth. So I'm sorry for what I just did. Please forgive me for not understanding how to love you, for not understanding how to receive such a light in this world, for, please forgive me for not, not being able to love you because you're just so bright. You're just so much like, I don't feel like I'm worthy of you. He would probably say some things like that. Like if he were to tell himself the truth, he would probably be looking at this beautiful little Amy and say, please forgive me for not knowing how to receive you because you're so incredible that I can't believe that I'm your dad and I just don't feel worthy of you. And I'm trying to figure out how to be worthy of you. And I don't know how, and it's frustrating and it's freaking me out and it's like pissing me off and it's just scaring me. And I just feel like this worthless piece of shit. And I'm like, get out of my face. Like, I mean, that's what he's going through if he could tell himself the truth. So you go, I'm sorry for what you're sorry for. Please forgive me. And then thank you. And so then he's going to thank her for being like a light in the world. Thank her for showing him the truth. Thank her for whatever it is that if he were telling himself the truth, what should he be thanking Amy for? This beautiful little girl. What would he thank her for if he were to tell himself the truth? If he were not stuck inside of his artificial creation that got passed down to him from generations, he would thank her for just being this beautiful expression. He would thank her for the affirmations that Samantha just told her. He would thank her for being that in his life. Thank you for being this beautiful lighthouse in my life, this beautiful, he would thank her for that. And then end with, I love you. So once you do that surrogate Ho'oponopono, then you'll, that should do it right there. That should unlock it. That should, you're outside of it. Now there's one more thing that you can add on as well. It's like, to really, lock it in as well. This is actually, now you can actually go straight to this one as well. It's like, you're just gonna have to feel your way out through these breakthrough processes. But these are just different, because you can just go straight to Ho'oponopono. You don't even have to go through the breakthrough process. You don't even have to take a minute. You could just do Ho'oponopono right now. Like, instead of going into the memory. You could also use this other one, which I call the release technique. So, again, you can layer them all together. So let's say we're gonna give Amy the whole shebang. Here we go. Like, that's the like you ain't get, okay, let's get you out. So the resistance pattern. So the thing is, we leave what is real in the pursuit of what appears to be. Okay. So the truth is, we're in love. but will leave love in the pursuit of what appears to be love. So at that moment, Amy was in love, and then she started chasing love. She wanted to get her dad to like her, wanted to get her dad's approval, because she's like, wait a minute, I can't be in love unless my dad approves of me, unless my dad, because right now dad's not approving of me. So she starts chasing dad's approval in that moment. I'm not enough, and I'm going to have to figure out how to be enough. So what do I have to do so dad will love me? And she starts morphing herself and shaping herself to try to fit into what she thinks the world wants her to be. So there's a resistance inside. There's what she really, really wants pushing against what she really, really is afraid of. Like, I really want this, but I'm afraid of this. And they're battling with each other. So we want to release that, because if you can release the desire and the fear, then the only thing that's left is the truth, right? So the truth is already there. It's already there, but the illusion of chasing something of, I'm not enough, and I've got to get to be enough. So the biggest fear is I'm not enough, but I really want to be enough. If you really want to be enough, that means you already think that you're not. The only reason you would ever want to be enough is because you think that you're not. So you're chasing it. So there's a resistance in there, the fear of not being enough and the desire to be enough. So we want to release that. So how we do that is you have them close their eyes, and they're just going to repeat after you. And this will be something you'll probably pause and just write this down. So you're going to, because you just say these exact things to them, and you'll have them repeat it. So you'll have them close their eyes, take a deep breath in, let it all go, ground. And then you're going to say, all right, just repeat after me. I have the power of a made up mind. And then they'll say it. And then you said, nothing in this universe can stop a made up mind. And then they say it, because that's the truth. Because again, we're manifesting our reality, our belief system. So now they're telling themselves the truth. I have the power of a made up mind. Nothing in this universe can stop a made up mind. Okay, cool. Now that they've admitted to themselves the truth, now it's time to release the pattern. So what we're going to do is you're going to say, I release my resistance of whatever it is. So if it's of not being enough, not being good enough. So you would say, okay, I release my resistance of not being good enough. And then you let Amy go, I release my resistance of not being good enough. And you say that 4 times. I release my resistance of not being good enough. And then once that's done 4 times, then you go, I release my fear of not being good enough. So you'll say that 4 times. I release my fear of not being good enough. And she says it. So repeat after her. And then once you've done that 4 times, I release my hate of not being good enough. And you just said that 4 times. I release my hate of not being good enough. And then the 4th one is I release my terror of not being good enough. I release my terror of not being good enough. So now you've released the fear. So now we've got to release the desire, because the desires, if the desire's still there, that means they're still under the illusion that they're still chasing it. Maybe the fear is gone, but they're still going to be chasing. So then you say, I release my desire to be good enough. I release my desire to be good enough. So it's the resistance and the fear of what they're afraid of. And then it's the desire to, so they're releasing their desire to be good enough. And they say that 4 times. Once they've done that, and that one might feel weird at first, because it could be like, if it's like, they've always wanted to be rich. You're like, I release my desire to be rich. They're like, whoa, no, I don't. No, I don't want to release my desire to be rich. And it doesn't really, because it's like, you'll see them. And sometimes when you're walking them through it, they'll like cough, or they'll stutter. They're like, you'll see where they're stuck, where they like, and you make sure you say the 4, like each of the 4, they got to get through it. Like, so they've really said it, So I release my desire to be good enough. And if they like, I release my desire to be good at it, you're like, oh, okay. You got to go through it 4 times, or release my desire to be good enough. And now it's released. Then now you tell yourself, now that the fear is gone and the desire is gone, the only thing that remains is the truth. So now tell yourself the truth. I accept that I am good enough, and I always have been. 4 times. I accept that I am good enough, and I always have been. And that'll really throw them for a loop. Like when they're saying, because, again, they said, I have the power of a made up mind. Nothing in this universe can stop a made up mind. So this is a process that they're walking, and they're telling themselves the truth all the way through. But it's weird when they're telling themselves the truth, because again, we've done the wrong thing so long, the right thing feels wrong. We're like, I accept that I am good enough, and I always have been. Like, I don't know about, like, they're like, the haywire starts going, like, whoa, I accept that I am rich and I always have been. Whoa, like, no, I haven't. Like, I was there like all these times where, but that was the only reason they didn't have the abundance was because they were under the illusion that they didn't. They were chasing what is real in the pursuit of what appears to be. They left truth, that they were in this abundant reality, to try to get to the place that they thought had it. But it's like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz trying to get home when she was home the whole time. So you get them those last four. I accept that I am good enough, and I always have been. And like I said, this one, you can go straight to this one. Instead of even going through the breakthrough process, once you find the limiting belief, whatever it is, you go straight into this. It's really simple. It's really quick. It's really easy. And it is powerful. I every single time I've done it with someone, there's miracles. I mean, like, if it happens fast, miracles just occur really quick. I mean, big things. Even though it seems so simple, like, wait, that's just too simple. It couldn't be, but it's wild. So, all right. So again, you can use it inside the breakthrough. You can do it outside the breakthrough. All these things I'm telling you, you can actually put them together. You can but it's all about, because there's a science and an art, so I'm teaching the science of it. And at the same time, I'm teaching the art of it. So you're going to develop both. Okay. So now once you've done all these, whatever breakthroughs, and you're like, okay, cool. They're nice. And you can see that they've told themselves the truth. They're now living in a new reality. Like, you can see that their world has shifted. Their world has changed like that fast. It didn't take, 30 years of counseling. It didn't take, like, because it was just, they were manifesting. They were creating it the whole time. You just had to give them the power back and show them that they're powerful creator, because they've been trapped inside the illusion of being a victim, and they're manifesting victim. So now that you've done that, then all you're going to do is say, okay, cool. Now, what does life look like going forward with these new beliefs? These new beliefs that I am good enough. What does life look like when you got a belief like that? Let's say, the next time, next time your boyfriend shows up all mad at you, about to slap you, well, you got a belief like I am good enough. What changes? Is it still the same? Or are you just going to keep getting beat and just laying there and like, oh no, I'm not enough? Or is something different going to happen? And they're like, of course, I would never let that happen. Like, you wouldn't now. Why? Because you got a new belief. So your thoughts lead to your emotions, lead to your actions, lead to your results. Your one thought was, I'm not enough. So when the slap is coming, you're cowering down, I'm not enough. And the emotion of I'm not enough, and you whimper down, and the action you take is just collapse and let it happen. And then that's the result, and it keeps perpetuating. But if you got I am enough, all of a sudden the slap might hit, but it'll only hurt for a second, because you're not gonna suffer from it. You might feel the pain of the slap, be like, that's the last time that's ever gonna happen, because I am enough. And people don't slap somebody who's enough. So I'm about to train you how to treat me by how I treat myself, and that's what you'll do. So that's what Amy will do. So that's it. I think that's the whole process. Again, that was pretty advanced version, but you can pause this video, rewind it. You can do everything that you need. And oh, okay. And then there's this last, so there's one last piece of this puzzle. I forgot about this one, because this one actually we created right before the right before we went to we went to a Costa Rica Holiness Retreat. And actually I got this one from Mel. I noticed there was this one thing that Mel did after we had done a breakthrough process on her before around this one thing. But sometimes, again, we do the wrong thing so long the right thing feels wrong. So you're taking on this new belief and you step into a new reality. But you could, since you are a powerful creator, Amy, since she's a powerful creator, she could choose to go back into the reality again. She's powerful enough that even though she's living in truth, she could still say, yeah, I'm going to go back into the story. I'm going to go back into line. I'm going back to hell. I don't feel at home in heaven. I'm going to go back where I feel home in hell, being not enough. So, well, I noticed what Mel did this one time. She did what we call the checkmate. Now, it actually started because I would do the checkmate like when we were doing breakthrough process, because her ego would just like, she had a really like elusive ego. It was like, I mean, it was like, trying to grab a hold of water. So I had to checkmate it. The only way I could get it to like stop. Oh, and actually it was, actually God did this to me first. How I even got it was God did it for me. I would say to me, but it's actually for me. When God came, because there's a moment where I came and asked for my life, and I was like, well, what are you going to do with it? And there was no answer, but I was thinking, well, what's a worst case scenario? And once I thought about the worst case scenario, I was like, well, and the worst case scenario for me was that I would just like lose all my cognitive skills. I wouldn't be able to think, because at the moment I didn't realize that I thought my cognitive, like that was where my worth came from. I thought the only reason anybody would love me was because I was smart. So if I didn't have that, then I wouldn't be worthy of love. So my mind was actually my God. That's why I was an atheist for so long, because it all had to be logical, because that would put me in control, because I could be in control of logic, but God exists beyond that. So I was still in control. But so when God asked for my life, and I'm like, well, what are you gonna do? And I'm like, well, worst case scenario is, what if God asked me to lose all my cognitive skills? Like I'm just a vegetable, like it's nothing. I'm like mentally retarded, or whatever, where it's just like, I can't do anything. How could anybody love me? But then I thought about it a little bit longer, and I was like, well, if this is God, and I'm going to die anyway. I mean, I know logically I'm going to die. Logically, my body's going to be gone. Logically, this brain's going to just turn in, like worms are going to be eating it unless I, get cremated or whatever happens. So logically, if this is God, why wouldn't I just do it now? And so it was like my God was used against me. My brain, my mind was used against me, or really for me, where I was checkmated. I couldn't get out. I couldn't escape. There was nowhere to go. There was nowhere to run. I couldn't talk my way out of it anymore. I couldn't like slip out of it. I was stuck. I got trapped by my own words, my own thoughts, my own logic. I'm like, logically, the only thing that makes sense is to surrender my life to God. Like before, I was like, I remember when I was an atheist, I was an evangelist atheist, where it was my job to convince people God wasn't real. And what I would do is I'd make them feel stupid. Like it was my job to make you feel stupid. Like, God, you're an idiot. How could you believe in something like look how stupid you are. I mean, that's what I would convey. And I was good at it, because I had a really powerful God. So what's cool when you lay it down, you got to put it on the altar. You put your God on the altar, whatever it is. And usually that thing gets handed back to you. And that's actually your gift to the world. But it can't be a gift to the world if it's your God. If it has you, you can't have it, and you serve the world with it. So anyway, so that's how the checkmate started. Well, then I was doing the breakthrough work with Mel, and I was like, how it kind of started, I was just like, anytime Mel would start like move into like, a victim mode, and she'd like start blaming me for something. And they're like, well, how does that make you feel about yourself? So I'm like handing it back to her. How does it make you feel about yourself? She's like, no, that's not about me. How does it make me feel about you? I'm like, well, okay, you feel that about me, but how does that make you feel about you? Because I'm really irrelevant. All that really matters is how do you feel about you? So it was like really working on this checkmate, bringing her back. But so then, and I started getting it to where I was really good at checkmate. But then I saw her do it on her own. And when she did it on her own, she just came up with this thing. I'm like, because this is when I finally saw it. I didn't even realize what I was doing until I finally saw her do it. And so there was a time something happened with like her. She was about to go to Costa Rica, the Costa Rica retreat, but she started feeling all this guilt. She's like, I can't go to this Costa Rica retreat because like, I'm going to be leaving my boys behind. She, she's got 2 sons, and she's like, like what if I don't get any cell phone service and I can't connect with them for 2 weeks? Like I'd be a horrible mother. And so she's going into this, I'm a horrible mother thing. I'm not worthy of love, like all this stuff. And so she checkmated herself. And how she did it was, because the truth is, like we always talk about, like, you never get sad enough to end depression. You'll never get broke enough to end poverty. If you really want to make a difference in the world, and that's a checkmate right there. Just listen to that one. That's a checkmate. That's an example. You'll never get sad enough to end depression. You'll never get broke enough to end poverty. Like, that's a checkmate. Like, because the spiritual people, and I only know this because I tried it. I was like, spiritual people are like, if I just give away everything, and I just like don't have any money anymore, then I'll be really spiritual. But I wound up homeless and I couldn't help anybody. So that was a checkmate. You'll never get broke enough to in poverty. The reason so usually what happens is when you're saying, I would do this, but I can't because of this. So Mel was saying, I would go to this retreat, this wholeness retreat that's going to serve humanity. And if you'd have been there, you'd have known that we probably set billions of people free at that retreat. Like, really, it was, I can't really explain it. You just got to be there. If you were there, you know what I'm talking about. If you weren't, make sure you get to one of them, the wholeness retreat. So anyway, so she was saying, I would go to this wholeness retreat, but I can't because of my kids. But almost always, every single time, the reason that you're saying you would do this would be your highest thing, but I can't because of this. The thing that you're saying you can't do it because of is the reason you must do it. The reason she had to go to the retreat is for her kids. If she really cares about her kids, if she really wants her kids to live their dreams, what does she need to do? Live her dreams. Checkmate. Because the kids don't learn by what you say. They learn by what? What you do. So you see how we're checkmating it. It's like where you just, like, you're calling the bullshit. Like, hey, sorry, you can tell yourself that story all you want, but you're only lying to yourself, and actually you can't even lie to yourself anymore. Sorry, I ruined your life for you. Now you're stuck in heaven. So what it was is, so her checkmate, now that she knew that, she understood, because the power of her going to this retreat is going to serve humanity. Like, you might be able to take care of your children, so much, but you're not really here to take care of them. You're really to show them how to take care of themselves, because otherwise you become their God. And they're like, well, I'm worthless without my dad. I'm worthless without my mom. You don't want to be the source of their wholeness. They need to be that. So yeah, but maybe you can help your kids for a while, and then maybe you can help your grandkids. But what about your great-grandchildren? I mean, you can only do so much. But if you can actually make a shift in this world, if you can actually birth a new reality, a new paradigm into this world, then you can actually, it'll go on long after you're gone. That's the only way you can serve your great-grandchildren. So really, the thing that Mel was not wanting to do because she was afraid she'd be a bad parent is the thing she had to do if she really wanted to be a great parent. She wanted to be the best parent in the world. This is the thing she has to do. So her checkmate was, when she caught herself doing it, she's like, I think she said, oh, why don't I want my children to live their dreams? Right? So listen to that. She said, why don't I want my children to live their dreams? So she had to ask herself, because if she's not going to live her dreams, children don't learn by what you say. How do they learn? By what you do. So if mom's like, you can go live your dreams, you can serve humanity, you can be a great, like, awesome, and she's saying that, but their kids looking up like, well, mom, how come you're not? How come you're not living your dreams? How come you're sad? How come you're miserable? How come you're depressed? How come you're in fear? Like, how am I supposed to do if you're trying to tell me how you're a hypocrite, mama? You don't want to be a hypocrite, do you? So she has to go first. The leader goes first. If you want the world to be abundant, then what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to become abundant, right? So you can't fight darkness with darkness. You got to turn on the light. You be the change you wish to see in the world. So the other piece is the checkmate. So once they've done this, once you went with Amy and she tells herself the truth that, I am enough, then you got to get her to, like, create this checkmate. So anytime she catches herself, like, trying to go back to hell, into the illusion, into the story, because hell is just an illusion. It doesn't even exist. It's a state of mind that's created by lying to yourself. So if she goes back to hell, lying to herself again, then there's a checkmate that she can come up with. And it's usually like a question. You ask yourself a question. Well, what would Amy say if she's about to go into I'm not enough again? She'd say, why would, what would a checkmate be? Anybody, Kirk, you were on the line over there. You got any checkmates over there for?
Well, I'm not hi everybody. I'm here. I've been secretly handing John notes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So mine is I wasn't enough. That was my disarmament.
Okay, cool.
And in my checkmate phrase is, who am I to deny God? And what that conjures for me, and I'm not even really settled in by what I mean by God, right? It's love and energy and power and something I don't fully appreciate, right? Something bigger than myself. And then my question brings me back to humility and humbleness, and to see my arrogance in saying that whatever is so is not perfect. Like 4.5 billion years of evolution brought me to a particular moment, and here I am like judging it, like it seems kind of ridiculous. So when I ask myself, who am I to deny God? It's like the answer is like ridiculous. Like cut it out, just be present and be humble and be in love, So it brings me right back to this really peaceful, loving state.
Nice, yeah. So it took a lot to get me here is really basically the thing. Like it took a lot to create me. You realize what had to happen for me to be created and me to get to this moment? I mean, it was like, I'm no accident. I mean, I'm like.
All this didn't just happen,
Yeah. And just start telling yourself, so like, who am I to deny God? And who am I to deny truth? Whatever it is. So just find some sort of checkmate. But they'll come up with their checkmate, but you can help them, help them come up with the checkmate. And you'll know it when they got it, when it hits them, they're like, whew, okay, there's no way I can use that BS anymore, that belief system anymore, because this new one has checkmated. So
perfect.
There's the checkmate, and then bonus points that really, yeah. Go ahead.
Let me do this part. I have a real passion for it. So the buddy program, right? So have you ever noticed how many times you've had some epiphany, some amazing realization, some big, huge relief of weight or anxiety or something in your life, and oh my gosh, it's all going to be different. And you wake up the next morning and everything's the same and you can hardly remember what happened yesterday, right? So we've all had that experience of something amazing is possible, and then over time, sometimes a few minutes or like overnight, it all disappears and it's all gone, right? So the answer to that is a buddy, right? So oftentimes you're doing this breakthrough work in a room full of people, and people will be moved and inspired by what just happened, what just transpired. Like, oh my gosh, people hear themselves in that and so forth, and they're moved. And when people are moved and in love and clear-minded, often they want to contribute, be part of it, like participate, And so what I highly recommend is whoever's really inspired by that breakthrough, like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, have that person be, is it Sarah? Is that who? Oh, Amy?
Amy. We're doing Amy. Yeah. And her sister was Samantha.
Yeah, somebody really got inspired by Amy's breakthrough. Like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's me, and that's so beautiful, right? Well, have that person, let's call him Tim, right? Have Tim be Amy's buddy for a few weeks, right? All Tim's job is to make sure that breakthrough with Amy continues. It actually happens. How I say it is, Tim, see that breakthrough over there? They're like, yeah, it's beautiful. See it done. It's now your job, your responsibility, your accountability to have that continue and expand, right? And then, and then somebody could be Tim's buddy at another breakthrough, or maybe Amy is Tim's buddy. It doesn't matter. It's just who's inspired to get up underneath that person and actually see it done, like stay with them for a little bit until it becomes natural. And, that's just, worthy and full of love and full of life. Is just who they are, right? And so, and then there's no particular structure about the buddy program. You can create it any way you want, and we might propose a structure later, but it's really checking in with them every few days, how they're doing. Hey, can you tell me what your checkmate phrase is? Like, just keep them in the world of it, because Amy's committed to it. Amy wants to be free. She just got jailbreaked out of hell. She wants it, right? But it's inherently uncomfortable sometimes to be in a whole new space, a whole new reality. And sometimes you just need somebody to hold your hand and be there for you and just let you know it's all going to be okay, and help you get across the street and look in both ways. You arrive together, right? Sometimes we just need that extra little bit of support to just not just cut people in the world, cut them free, and just like, good luck. You want to send somebody with them to be a guide for a little while.
Nice. So let's go ahead and break down. So I said it was 9, but it's actually it was 11. We had 11 steps.
Yeah.
So step 1 is identify the limiting belief, the number 1 limiting belief. And how we do that is we trace it anywhere on the map, the equation of thoughts, emotions, actions, results. Find it either in the results or the emotions. Whenever you find that the result and trace that back to the emotion, however it makes them feel, then, okay, what is that belief? What belief must they have to create that reality? I'm not enough, or I'm too fat, or whatever. Then that was number 1. Number 2, ask them if they're done with that. If they're done with that result, like, are you done with that result? Okay. So are you done with the belief that's creating the result? Okay. Do you want to let go of it? Yes. Okay. So now you've got their permission. And then 3rd, you invite them to close their eyes and then ground and bring up the first moment that they remember that belief. Like if it's, I'm not enough, the first moment it comes up. Once that comes up, then step 4 is you just listen. You listen to them share their story. You enter into their story with them. You don't try to stop them. You don't try to, like, if they're in the middle of, like, like I said, we're talking about Amy. If Amy's dad slaps her, you don't try to stop her and, like, not let her feel what she's felt. You let her feel the whole thing and be in that moment. You just listen. You're just fully present. Once she's gone through the whole story, then step number 5 is you ask for them to think of a person that they really, really trust to come and tell them the truth. So, and it'd be like, it could be a real person. It could be an imaginary person. It could be a pet. It could be anybody that if this being said the truth, then they would take it no matter what. So that was step 5. Step 6, then you have that person tell them the truth in the memory. So there's Amy as a little 5-year-old girl getting slapped. So you bring her back into the moment because you brought her out into the truth, but now bring her back in the moment, and you kind of reinforce the moment. Like, okay, so here it is. You were just being a little girl, and all of a sudden dad slaps you and you're about to form this belief in this moment. And right before you form the belief, the person that you really, really trust shows up. So Amy invited Samantha. Samantha shows up and tells Amy the truth. So you have that person tell them the truth in that moment. And then once that's done, that could be it. That you could see the complete shift. Like, okay, cool, they're good to go. Like, and they could fully embody the entire shift. If not, then we can go some more paths with it. We can open it up to where, so Amy might need her like apology from the person that hurt her. So what you do in that moment is, that would be step 7. Then you would do a role play Ho'oponopono, which is like you're a surrogate. So you would be the father and saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And you would just be a conduit for it. You're just going to get out of the way. You're just going to let it flow through you. You're not there. You're letting the highest truth flow through you. If the father, you become the father, and you put yourself in that moment of you slapping little Amy, and you're this dad slapping his little girl, and then you snap out of it, and then you just let the truth flow through you. So I'm sorry, Amy, for slapping. I'm sorry for losing myself, for getting lost. Please forgive me for whatever it is, and then thank you. So then you would thank, if you were in the truth and you see this little girl, you're this little girl's dad, you would thank her for whatever that you would thank her for in that moment. But you're just letting it flow through. You're being a conduit, and then I love you, and you just say that, and then that should release all their resistance, all their pain. Like, it should be gone right there. Then step 8, which is another kind of like, again, you don't have to do the Ho'oponopono. You don't have to do this one. It's called the release pattern, but this is the release pattern, step 8, which is, again, we're creating a reality by resisting against. We have a desire of something and a fear of something else. So you wouldn't have a desire for something if you believed you already had it. Now, the truth is, everything that you ever really want, you already do have, but you don't experience it because you believe that it's not there. It's like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz chasing the wizard to try to get home when she was home the whole time. So the release technique, which is step 8, is you release the desire. First, you release the fear. Well, first you accept, I have the power of a made-up mind. Nothing in this universe can stop a made-up mind. And once you have them admit that, then they release the fear. by just repeating after you the phrases that we talked about earlier. I release my resistance of not being good enough, or whatever the belief is. I release my fear of dot, dot, dot. I release my hate of dot, dot, dot. I release my terror of dot, dot, dot. That release the fear. Then you're going to release the desire. I release my desire to be good enough. I release my desire to dot, dot, dot. And you do all these 4 times. Now that the fear's gone, the desire's gone, then the only thing that remains is the truth. So I accept that I am good enough, and I always have been. I accept that I am dot, 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 and I always have been, 4 times. So that completely solidifies the reality, the truth. Now they're in the highest perspective. They've made it back to heaven completely. Then number 9, and again, you don't have to go through all these. You'll feel through it. Again, it's a science and an art. So you'll feel your way through this. I'm giving you the science. You're going to have to develop the art. You're going to have to learn how to use it and dance with it and feel your way through this, because this isn't a logical thing. This is a heart thing. So number 9, when you've done all this, when it's solid, when the new reality is solid, then you ask them what life looks like going forward with these new beliefs. So in this new belief, now that I am enough, okay, now what does life look like? What does it look like going forward? So now they're projecting it into the future. Now that they see that their past has changed, how did it change their future? Now they're on a completely new road, because when you shift the story, it heals from the womb to the tomb and beyond. So it heals past generations, and it heals future generations. It heals everything, because that story is gone. You can't use it anymore. So then to really make sure it's gone forever, because now they see the new reality, what they're going to create with this. Well, we do the wrong thing so long, the right thing feels wrong. We're creatures of habit. So the addiction to hell could show back up. You're like, well, I've been in hell my whole life. It kind of feels weird being up here in heaven. It's like peace, love, and joy all the time. And you start to drift back. Well, checkmate yourself. The moment you catch the thought, because the thought, I'm not enough, or whatever the thing is, you're going to have them have a checkmate. So the moment that the thought appears, they catch themselves thinking, oh, I'm not enough, or whatever the thought is, then you have them checkmate, which would be like I said, Mel was a perfect example of a checkmate. She had when she was like, I'm not a good mom, because she was about to go to Costa Rica for 2 weeks without our kids, which meant I'm not a good mom. Well, her checkmate was, well, why don't I want my children to live their dreams? Boom. Okay. Now you called BS on the belief system. You called bullshit on the belief system. So once that's done, the checkmate, you're all in the new world. You got the checkmate. So, and then the last part is a buddy. Have a little buddy, an accountability partner, somebody who can relate to, like, that really felt what it is that you're talking about. Because if you're doing this in a group breakthrough session, then there's going to be multiple people that got the same breakthrough. When you took Amy through the breakthrough, there's other people that got the same exact breakthrough. Like, that was their life. That was their story. So when somebody really resonates with it, you're like, okay, cool. Well, and you have Amy pick a buddy from the people that are like raise their hand, resonate. Okay, cool. And that buddy is just going to keep them accountable. And so make sure that checkmate gets done. Make sure that this new reality happens, like that the buddy is reinforcing the truth. And really what's cool is because every time the buddy's reinforcing the truth for Amy, who else is the buddy reinforce the truth for? Themselves. And they can do it back and forth, because every now and again, Amy might need to reinforce the buddy. Amy, I think it was Tim was his name. Right? Amy might need to reinforce Tim. And that really solidifies it for Amy. When Amy has to tell somebody else the truth whenever they get lost in the same story, it really helps. So that was the 11 steps.
There's something I've observed as a coach for half a minute is oftentimes that thing that someone overcomes very quickly becomes their superpower and unique gift to the world.
Yes.
Right? So Amy is going to start being the person that everybody who has worthiness issues needs to go to.
Exactly.
Go, oh, I got you. Are you kidding? Sit down. And just from the power of having been through hell, come back to heaven, been supported, gotten reliable, got her feet under her, to be in heaven, especially around this worthiness thing, or I'm not enough thing. Then the next person who rolls up is like, oh, I'm just not enough, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you need to talk to Amy. And then Amy gets to experience going from, this small, not enough, being in the world, being, slapped by her dad and then slapped by the world in her life, all of a sudden to, I'm now the spokesperson in the vortex for anyone who has the mistaken belief that they're not enough. right?
Mm.
And so I think that's really a beautiful thing. It's really great to witness somebody go from like caterpillar to butterfly to dragon. It's just
Yeah. And this actually, now that we're saying this could be a step 12 right here, which is, okay, all right, Amy. So now, you went through hell and you made it out on the other side, right? Well, what if it was the only reason you made it out on the other side because grace pulled you through? And what if the only reason you went through that hell is so no one else ever has to? Okay, Amy? She's like, oh, okay. So we said, okay, Amy, if you don't want your pain to be in vain, turn your mess into a message. And you're going to have to create an income and an impact because, no margin, no mission. So to create an impact, but in order to create an impact, you need to create an income. So this could be a starting point also for their new journey throughout earthwaking into like becoming visionaries.
Beautiful.
So you're going to have Amy take a stand. So you're going to take a stand for that. So like the only reason you went through that is so nobody else ever has to, right, Amy?
Yeah.
So now you're going to be a stand. You're going to be a voice for the voiceless because you didn't have a voice before. Now you've got a voice, but there's a whole lot of little Amy's out there that don't have a voice. You're now all the little Amy's in the world's voice. You're going to take a stand for that. When she takes a stand for that, guarantee she'll never be that again.
Beautiful.
So, because she knows if all these other little Amy's are depending on her to actually take a stand for truth. And that now really reinforces it.
I love that. Let me add something to that. So whether Amy chooses to create a business for income and impact or just simply chooses to be the one for this group is completely her choice. In other words, she can have the breakthrough, be in heaven without creating a business for income and impact, although it might be a surprising delight that that's actually possible for her. But don't get caught up in, oh, you should start this business. Like, that's not the point of it. And it might be a natural flow.
Cool. Yeah, we just got a bonus step there, like step 12 right there. Have them take a stand. Be like, okay, Amy, you commit to being a stand. Does this end with you?
Yeah.
Does this end with you, Amy? Yeah. Okay. Well, be sure.
I love it.
Go tell the world. Tell the world the truth. Think that's it.
I think that's it. All right. So let's just summarize here. So this is a training video for people who are interested in becoming proficient and then masterful in this kind of work. And so this is one of probably 2 or 3 different videos that we'll produce. And I am going to, for now, I will be the vortex or the contact point for questions, follow-ups. So if you get this and you're ready for what's next, I'm the one currently who's available to kind of guide you through that. That may change, and we'll keep that all together somewhere. But anyway, great job, John. It's my view that this work is a national treasure, like how you created it. This is like something that people need and want, the world is hungry for. And by extension, it's my belief that you're a national treasure. So I really appreciate you taking the time and getting these gifts and these tools and these fabulous ways of thinking about the world and thinking about life up on the menu where people can actually see it, choose it, learn it. So I just really, really just appreciate you for doing this, John. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for being an incredible guy. That's like, you've really helped me bring this out more. It's kind of like I've been a lone wolf trying to do it. Even when I've had people around me, I've had support around me, I've still been a lone wolf until you're like forcing me to receive from you. And you're just been an awesome support system. So you're helping my light shine brighter, and we're all helping each other. So thank you.
Great. Okay, beautiful. I received that. Thank you, and you're welcome. So I'm going to end the recording. Here we go. Bye, guys. And hold on. Oh, there it is.